back to the channel. This is Black Locust, also known as Robinia or false acacia. It's not particularly hard to get hold of. It is fairly available, but it is very hard to turn. When it gets fully dry, or down to about 12% moisture, it has a janker hardness of 1700, which is quite tough. So luckily these two pieces are still fairly fresh cut, so the moisture content will be a lot higher than that. So we're going to use the twice turning method on these. We're going to turn them to the shape we want, but leaving it about 1 inch thick, and then we're going to let them dry. We've got another experiment going on with some other pieces we did a few months ago, which we'll be taking another look at in a few weeks' time. Now, this wood also has a very interesting property in that it is fluorescent. In fact, it's one of the most fluorescent woods available. Okay, I've got a UV torch here. And as you can see, it really is quite bright underneath those lights. And it's this feature, lights go up, here we go. And it's this feature which I'm trying to, I want to have a bit of fun with today. I've got a UV light which I'm going to shine as we're turning this, and just to see what it looks like, because I think it might be a bit of fun. Right, so they are wet. We are going to part turn them. I'm going to use a faceplate on these to start off with. So first of all, I'm going to get my calipers out. We'll see what kind of circle we can get, and then I'll chop off the corners with a chainsaw. Okay, there we have two nice pieces ready to go onto the lathe. Now I'm just going to quickly check the internal moisture of these pieces. About 21–22% moisture on that one. And pretty much the same on this. These things are fine. They're nice little guides to what the moisture content is, but they only measure the bits of wood you're touching. For instance, on this bit here, which has been exposed for a while, so that's 12%. And if that was the only measurement you were going to do, then you could be kind of persuaded to think that that wood was ready to turn, where in fact it really is absolutely sopping wet inside. All right, so faceplates on. I'll do one at a time. We'll get it on the lathe, turn on the UV light, and see how this looks. Okay, we're all set up. We've got tailstock. Even though we could probably live without it, we may as well try and be as safe as we can, because we're about to do something which isn't particularly safe. All sharpened up. We're going to be turning it around 700 RPM to start, and we'll just start clearing off this bark. Now, when I start turning, I'm going to turn off the main light and just leave the UV on, just to see how this thing looks. I don't know if there's much UV in the actual bark itself, so as that's being peeled away, then hopefully you'll start to see the glow of the wood underneath. Ah, that was interesting. I was being struck by thousands of stars. I say it's looking quite nice, that grain. It's very similar to kind of like a lighter version of laburnum. There's quite almost like a sweet smell as well, which is quite nice. but you can definitely feel the moisture in this wood. Right, I'm going to keep on going normally for a second or two, just so I can get this shape sorted. I know when I'm through this bark. Right, it may be wet, but it's still blunting the tools. Right, I'm just going to sharpen up. I'll be back in a second. Okay, we're just about through the bark. You can see how wet it is. It's just getting very fluffy on the edges. I'm just started to create the first tenon that we're going to use to hollow it out, but that's not going to be the final foot. I'm going to create another foot just slightly higher up, and that was going to be the final one when we come to the second turning. That's all fine. Right, let's get my gauge for that. Right, I'm going to go in a fair bit yet. Let's final check. Okay, this is ready to take off the lathe and turn around to do the inside, but just quite interestingly, if you turn the light off, the fluorescence is mainly in the heartwood. It really is quite interesting. All the shavings. I love this stuff. I'm like a child, aren't I? Right, okay, let's take this off. Okay, we're turned around already. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes flattening off the surface, getting us below this pith line, and then we're going to hollow it out. Only going to hollow out to about 3/4 of an inch thick to an inch, something like that, and that'll be all we're going to do with this one at this stage. Right, let's turn the lights off again. Top edge thickness is about there. This needs to come a little bit thinner from there downwards. Okay, tailstock away and we'll finish this off. A little bit deep on the bottom. When I did that last experiment, I got a couple of tips, people saying that if you just round over the edge, then there's less stress on the wood, so I thought I may as well give that a go. Right, a little bit deeper, sort out this edge a little bit more, and then that's done. Okay, that's this one part turned. Just got one more to go. I'll film the next one completely in UV. Okay, so you'll not see anything apart from this stuff flying at you. There we go. 2 fluorescent, part-turned Black Locust bowls. The grain really is just quite something seen under this UV light. Right, I'll turn the light back on now. Well, there we are. Now, the reason why I decided to go this route with a bit of Black Locust is, first of all, it's a lot cheaper. When you're buying wet wood, it's a fraction of the price of buying seasoned wood, because the person selling it doesn't have to go to the expense of storing wood for numerous years until it's ready to be sold, or putting it in a kiln, which again costs money. So you have that side. Also, because we know that Black Locust does get incredibly hard, it gives us a chance to get ahead of the game and get it into the kind of shape we want before it totally dries out and gets ridiculously hard. We still have a reasonable amount of wood to take away, but it's going to be an awful lot easier in this state than it would have been normally. So the next step now is I'm going to go and weigh these and write on the weight and the date, so I can periodically check on them to see when they've lost enough moisture to be able to turn down further. It's probably going to be between 4 and 6 months for wood this dense. It doesn't dry overly quickly, but considering that wood normally dries about an inch a year, the previous pieces we had would have taken half a decade to dry at least. So we have saved ourselves an awful lot of time. Right, anyway, that's it for this week. If you've enjoyed it, I would appreciate a thumbs up, etc. And don't forget that if you leave a comment as well, you're going to be entered into a prize when we get to 20,000 subscribers. But apart from that, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.